in religious writings prior to King Josiah's reform of the Israelite religion. He saw one descending out of the midst of heaven, and beheld his luster was above that of the sun at noonday. This is 1 Nephi 1, 9 and 10. And he beheld 12 others, their brightness did exceed that of the stars of the firmament. Now, the heavenly council in this vision descends to earth. These elements are authentic aspects of the throne theophany literary form. Let's see it explained. The Hebrew symbols employed make clear that the descensus, that is them coming down, that's called a descensus, is a continuation of the vision of the heavenly council. This is part of the process. Yahweh himself, he is typically envisioned in the Old Testament as enthroned amidst the worshiping host of heaven, the sun, the moon, and the stars. The Book of Mormon catches this. Such little details, but they are critical to this specific throne theophany event in ancient Israel. And the Book of Mormon gets it. That's so interesting. As Frank Cross demonstrates, the heavenly bodies themselves give personality. In protological fashion, they were conceived as part of the worshiping hosts of heaven. These were the beings about the throne of Yahweh. He pointed out that the Kokav Boker, the morning stars, in Job 38:7, may be considered in parallel with the Bene Elohim, the sons of God. So they were considered heavenly beings here. The term Sabaoth equally applies to the heavenly hosts and bodies and the angelic hosts. Thus the sun and the stars which Lehi beheld in vision, proceeding from the heavenly council, probably foreshadowed Christ and the 12 apostles, as in the ascension of Isaiah. We have the same thing in the pseudepigraphic ascension of Isaiah, or possibly the chosen one and the 12 tribes of Israel in Joseph's dream. That's in Genesis 37:9. Well, such a symbolic vision of the coming Messiah can be found in the Testament of Judah. Now, this testamentary literature is the thing big that Nibley brought out that I'll explain from Nibley. In the Testament of Judah, and after this there shall arise from you a star from Jacob in peace, and a man shall arise from my posterity like the Son of Righteousness. It's the Testament of Judah 24, verse 1. Although the descensus motive is not essential to the literary form of the call narrative, the motive, as it appears in the first chapter of Nephi, is a logical extension of the throne theophany and evidence of the Hebrew influence on Lehi's account. Now that's fascinating because this wasn't discovered except within my lifetime, within the last, say 50 years or so. That's when all of this type of parallels and situations was put together to see what is a bona fide throne theophany, what is a bona fide idea of a prophet seeing the heavenly council. This is the form now. Now, this is what I really like. This is one of Gardner's spectacular insights that I like, and I'm on page 70 of Gardner. The 12 who accompanied the one in Lehi's vision are quickly identified by Christians, though not to Lehi, as the 12 apostles of the Lord. And of course that's proper, that's okay. Lehi would have seen them as representatives of the 12 tribes of Israel, and that's precisely right. That was the idea why I wanted to bring out Michelle's information on this entire ancient concept of the 12 tribes among all the nations. This is how Lehi would have properly understood that, and Brant Gardner got that. I'm really glad to see that. In the context of the pre-Reform religion, the brilliant one, of course, was Yahweh, whom we as Christians would recognize as being Jesus, and that's what Margaret Barker has said. She said the theme of Yahweh as one of the heavenly sons of God in the council was certainly equated with Jesus later on. The Nephites understood the mission of the Messiah as having an atoning phase and as a Messiah upon whom the Old Testament focused after Josiah downplayed it, and it designated the Messiah as the atoning Messiah and the triumphant Messiah. The Book of Mormon catches this atoning Messiah theme very powerfully. Now, Nibley in his book Since Cumorah, as only Nibley could do, he is so powerful. It's so interesting. On page 182, he talks about this idea of when Lehi was carried away in his vision, he laid down on his bed and he saw this heavenly throne theophany. We have something very much like the story of Ammon in the court of King Lamoni, with both the king and his inspired guests being overcome, just like Lehi was. The Spirit isn't necessarily just a warm burning in your bosom. It can have so much power that it literally overwhelms you. Ammon and the king Lamoni was overwhelmed after having visions of the glorious plan of salvation. In the ascension of Isaiah, we see Isaiah at home among the pious men of the Judean desert, the 40 sons of the prophets heading some sort of a religious community, exactly as Lehi and Nephi did, and the people of Qumran did. Then he talks about, over on page, this is big stuff. I'm going to have to read a few pages here. Pages 184, 185, 186 out of Nibley Since Cumorah. Very relevant. We've called attention to a type of literature called the testamentary literature. Now, a testament is this type of literature because a testament contains the last admonition and the prophecies of certain patriarchs and prophets to their children and to their disciples. This is the idea of a testamentary literature. This is precisely what Nephi does, what Lehi does, and what the Book of Mormon prophets are doing. They are writing testamentary literature. Their genre of literature fits into that ancient concept very well. The testaments contain, we have testaments of Enoch, Abraham, Zenas. We have the testaments of the 12 patriarchs. These are the oldest of all of the apocryphal writings. The visit of a pious observer to the other world. This is the theme, and this is what Lehi does. He's allowed to look on a great and glorious assemblage of heavenly beings in the presence of God. Similar to Dante as far as that goes. He says, the great council held in heaven at the foundation of the world is a theme that runs like a red thread through the scriptures. The first book